All right, everybody, back at it here again. We're gonna do a Freecad session. I have this. So one day I came out from work, and the trailer that I've been working on was the air compressor was just kind of hanging by the wire. So what had happened is, I guess it's designed to be mounted up and down. And I had mine right side up. I had mine mounted upside down. So the washers that came with the thing were too small to hold it. So they were basically bigger than like this hole, or smaller. Well, they were bigger than this hole, but they were smaller than this hole right here. And so the thing had collapsed through and fell through. So it ripped out the rubber part right here. They have these little rubber spacer things in it that basically it just gets rid of vibration is what it does. So the actual air compressor sits and rides right in this groove on these. And then you put your mounting hardware through this hole. So what I did is I had to 3D print some out of TPU. And this is that. But I wasn't able to stream it because I was trying to get ready to go camping. So I figured I'd just show it to you here on this stream. So, I mean, if you have any questions about this, let me know. It's basically, make that shape and pad it. And then make this pocket right here. And then just pad that or pocket that to a certain, millimeter, whatever you want there. And this did not work too, I should say. It's not as soft as the rubber. I made it the same dimensions as the rubber ones that came with it. It's not as soft, so I was not able to stick this through the AC. Now, it did work, but what I had to do is I had to cut this right here. So I had to cut these off, and I left 2 ears. So just basically, instead of this whole thing being around, I just cut this here, and then I cut the other side there, and then I was able to squeeze it through, and it worked. So I think we did somewhere around 300 miles with it, and it's still attached. And this actually isolated vibration better than the stock ones. And then what I did is I put a big washer up here so it can't fall through anymore. Probably getting sick. The kids are sick. So there's that. If you have any questions about that, put them in the comments, and I'll do what I can to get to them, or to do another stream about it or whatever. I mean, I'll restream it. I'll design it again if anybody needs it. I don't know that anybody would, but just my weird problems. That's what's awesome about 3D printing, though, is that you have your own little problem there, and you can fix it or whatever. So, okay, so today I have a new problem. So in this Suburban, I spent all this time and effort and money building this like rooftop pod. Okay, it's like kind of like a rooftop tent, but I had this idea that my kids could sleep in it and they could like go through the sunroof into it and stuff, and it worked, and it was good and whatever, but it didn't really look very good. Kind of the idea was to have 2 modes of camping. I don't think I've talked about this on this channel. I have a big toy hauler that I haul around and camp in sometimes. Now, when I bought it, I worked for a different company, and I was able to take my vacations by the day and not by the week. And now I work for a new company that I need to take my vacations by the week. So when I could take them by the day, I could just take long weekends and go camping, and I didn't have to take a whole week off ever. I could just always do a long weekend, so that worked. I could like take Thursday through Monday off. Thursday could be a travel day, and so we could take our time getting to wherever we were going. So now to do a weekend camping trip, I need to leave Friday and be back Sunday. So the time is an issue, and so that's why I started building this trailer, and I started to come up with ideas on how to make my Suburban into a motorhome, basically. So I built out this back area into a drawer and a bed. So there's a bed platform, and then underneath it is storage and a drawer that comes out, kind of like those decked. It's like a cheap, super cheap version of those decked drawer systems, but you have a stove there and, you know, some other stuff. So anyways, that worked pretty well. We slept on that part, and then I was going to put the kids in like this this thing that sat on the roof. It was kind of like a rooftop tent, but it wasn't. Made out of foamy material. So you can look up foamy structures. Basically, people build these campers out of foam and canvas and glue. And it worked, and it's fine or whatever, you know, and I could have made it work, but I just didn't like it. I mean, ultimately, that's what it came down to. I just didn't like how it looked. I didn't like driving it around with this big thing on my truck all the time. I couldn't put my truck in the garage, and that truck breaks down like it, you know, it blew the engine in it with that foamy thing on it. That's not why I took it off, but I mean, I took it off to fix the truck, you know, but then I just decided against it. So what I did is I made the middle seat a bed for one of the kids, right? And then I made the front seat a bed for the other kid. Now the middle seat is easy to make a bed because it folds down like most SUVs into a flat platform. So then you just put a piece of foam there and put a kid there, right? Easy. The front seats, however, are bucket seats with a console, a center console thing that kind of, you know, it's in the way, basically. So what I did is I cut the foam to fit the seats and over the center console to make a flat platform. I ran out of time, so I didn't film any of that. You know, filming makes everything take longer, and it's just not, it's whatever, you know, so I just didn't do it. But basically what I did do, I did that and it worked, and the kids are, you know, they slept there and they were happy with their bed areas, you know, and they enjoyed it. They actually spent a lot more time in their bed areas than, you know, playing their screens and stuff. So they must have been comfortable because they didn't just sleep there. Like, they spent time there with their screens and whatever. I just, you know, a lot of times when we go camping, I don't let them do that because we're camping. But this time I was just like, whatever. And then, you know, me and the wife and my dad were able to hang out easily without worrying about kids or, you know, whatever. So it was good. So the problem is that front bed runs into it. I have a CB in there and another radio, and I need a switch plate in the front of my truck. And so all of that was to say that I need a different way to mount this CB and the other radio so that the bed is kind of a little bit better placed. Now the other thing is that where I have this CB, it is kind of in the way of these the 12 volt kind of plugs, you know, for everything. The Suburban comes with 3 right there, and then so to kind of like plug those in, you know, like the 12 volt adapter things, it just doesn't like work all that well. It could be better. So sorry, that's why I put this music on here. It's just not feeling that great. today. I don't know. Let me take this hoodie off here. I don't even know how I'm hot because it's like 45 degrees outside. There's no heater on down here. Like whoever finished my basement messed some things up. So one of the things that they messed up is this big room. I have this big like extra living room down here, and they didn't put any HVAC in. There's no heater or AC vent in here. I don't know why they did that, but what they did is that, like, obviously we don't need the AC down here, but they did put a baseboard electric heater on the wall, which is fine, but I hate using it. So I don't know why. I used to hate it because natural gas was a lot cheaper than electricity, but nowadays it's basically more expensive. Natural gas is now somehow more than electricity, and I don't know. Make that make sense, somebody. It's freaking New America. It's not good. Okay, so what we need to do, so basically, and I've wanted to do this for a long time too anyways, because what I did is I took the mounting brackets that came with the CB, and I put them in there, and I actually flipped them upside down. And so they're actually holding the other radio. And then what I did is I got some different L brackets and put them on the CB. So the problem with all of this is that there's a lot of wasted space. You know, there's like a good inch gap in between the dash and then the CB, and then another inch, then the other radio. And then what I need to do is put in a 4-banger switch with USBs, and what I want to do is wire this truck with 110, so that I will have inverter system there. So I want 110 plugs at the front dash, and then I want 110 plugs where the kids sit, so they can actually plug their switches in, because switches charge at a higher amperage than USB. So what we do now is we have this little inverter that we use, but I want this stuff wired in so we don't have wires and cables running everywhere while we're driving. So it's not that bad right now because it just runs down the middle, but it still is another wire, you know. So what I want is 2 USBs and at least one 110 at both back seats. And then what I want is 2 more in the back where our bed is on each side. So on each of our sides, like I'll have 2 USBs so I can plug my stuff in at night. And then there's going to be another build that we're going to do. It's going to be like a flip down mount that will need to adjust and stay where it is for the iPad to go on the ceiling. Because what we do is we'll put a movie on the iPad and watch it at night, and I want to be able to do that in the Suburban. So basically the Suburban becomes the beds, and then just so you know, the rest of the setup is this. I built that toilet trailer. It's basically just a trailer with a toilet on the front, and the toilet collapses down. There's like a front room toilet box thing, comes up and goes down, and I built that, and that worked good. So we have that, and then in between that we put what's a truck tent or an SUV tent, and it attaches to the truck. So you open the rear hatch, and there's like an 8x8 tent that's attached to the truck, and we just put like a table in there, and you can put, whatever in there, but that is basically the kitchen. It ended up also being like the wardrobe for this trip, like the kids' clothes and our clothes ended up being in there, because I thought that was going to be where in the bathroom, but it was a little tight. So what I'm probably going to do is move the hooks for the clothes. I put hooks in the bathroom to hang our clothes bags. I think I'm going to move them back behind the toilet, and then that will make the bathroom the wardrobe. So basically, you go to the bathroom, you change in the morning into your regular clothes, and then you go do your day. Then you come back, change to your pajamas in the bathroom, and then you go sleep in the truck. The other thing that we're looking at is our SUV tent has one door. I think if we got a 2-doored SUV tent, so you could get out of the SUV, either go right out the door or go left out the door, another door. What we could do is we could put the bathroom on one of the doors, and it would be like it's inside. You could get out of the Suburban into the tent, wouldn't have to put your shoes on, go into the bathroom from there without having to put your shoes on, and it would be like the trailer, but not. That's like the only thing that this setup didn't offer us that we like about the trailer was maybe running water, but we can accomplish that. There's just a little bit more work to do, and that will happen. And being able to get up and go pee at 3 a.m. without putting your shoes on. And we can accomplish that if we get a SUV tent with 2 doors in it. So that is probably something I'm going to look into. And if I can get one that's canvas material and a little better quality, then I will do that. We ripped this one once already. We sewed it back together. Because it's just like cheap, the same kind of cheap tent material that all the tents are made out of, which is fine. But it's, if you're like backpacking, or I guess that's good, but we're not. So I don't know, what I would like to do is get a lot higher quality, material, because I think we're going to do this more. I think the toy hauler is, and then basically on the back of the bathroom trailer is bikes. And, the other thing that I'm going to either build or buy is e-bikes. So we did, our first day we did like 13 miles, or between 12 and 13 miles, depending on what GPS you look at. Because we took 2 GPSs and they had different mileages on them, which is weird, but it happens. And then the second day we did between 9 and 10 miles, depending. So it was basically, the first day kind of kicked everybody's, butt. Everybody was really tired because it was like a lot of hills and up and down. And the second day was pretty much just flat, but there was like one big long hill at the beginning, and then kind of another like halfway long hill in the middle, and then the back was a lot of downhill, but it wasn't very steep. It was like barely down, or barely up hills on the second day, which I think was nice. It was a nice break, but it was nice to get out and work your muscles and have a challenge. And okay, so today what I'm going to do on this stream, sorry, it's like now we're finally doing it after this long intro. Let me see if I can pull up what things I do have. I was going to like play video games or something right now, but I decided I have so much to do that I should just start on this. So I'm not going to build the box today. I don't know kind of how big. I mean, maybe we'll get some sort of rough deal on it, but I don't even know where I'm going to place everything, and I don't have the measurements for the switches. Maybe if we get far enough, I'll go grab the switch and we'll measure those out here. But basically, I think my kid's going to get up in 2 hours and he wants to play video games, so I guess we'll do that. But let's start with this. So I'm going to make the CB. That's what we're going to draw today. Let's go to tasks. Did I start it? Yeah, so I'm going to sketch here. I just do it without thinking. I started a body in a sketch. So you can see that over here. Go to tasks, and then, so let's make the CB first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw the faceplate, right? So let's go to polyline. And it's basically just, kind of around, what is it? I think it's a Cobra. Is it a Cobra Classic, or I think it's the Cobra Classic, but not the Cobra Classic Pro, I want to say, or something like that. I was supposed to get the Cobra Classic Pro, but I messed up and didn't get it. I don't know, it's something. So let's go ahead and constrain these. I got a really funky looking shape there, didn't I? Let's see. So it's basically something like this, and I'll probably have to adjust these corners later because I don't know exactly what these radiuses are, or whatever. But I do know that from here to here is 184. Oh, come on. Why do you do that? I don't know why. It sometimes has a hard time constraining these when it has to move them big like that. Because it was at 24 and it needs to go to 1. So let's try that again. See what happens. See that? See how it worked? When I went from 170 to 184, it just worked perfectly. But when I was going from 24 to 184, it couldn't do it. This program sometimes is so weird, and I don't know why, we have these issues. Let's get these smaller first, I guess, and maybe that will help us out. Let's try a 2 on that. What does that do? Okay, that gets us something. Let's maybe go for a 6. Okay, and let's make all these equal. That way later, if we have to change this, because I think we might, I'll just have to change the 1. So I'm going to make this model like that. Okay. So now we kind of have the shape of it. So we need to do from here to here. And what does that equal? 57. Okay. So our little guys now it does weird things like this too sometimes. Come on. There we go. All right. And probably what we could do is put in a construction rectangle to hold these dots in place. So they didn't do that. I mean, I don't know why it wants to curve over, I guess we can define these lines and then that wouldn't do that. So does it have to be that? If I make it 179, will it error? No, it won't. Because, so, should it be? I mean, yeah, I guess it has to be that. Okay, so now they're kind of stuck. There's no way to move these around here. Can I move these ones? No. Okay, good. So if I constrain this one, it'll probably won't even matter anyways. And I can't do a 52. It's I'm stuck at 51, whatever. Okay, so that would be something like that. Let's see. So I don't have a good way of locating this box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything from the bottom. going to put this line. Well, I'm going to do from this dot to here, and hopefully I can remember this at 5 millimeters. And then from this dot to here at 5 millimeters. Okay, so what we'll do is this will be 5 millimeters away from the, the axis, basically. And hopefully that will be a way that we can constrain it all, because I can't put a corner on this dot, which is something I would normally do to kind of locate everything going forward. Okay, so that's going to be my CB plate right there. And so this is basically my CB. We could pad it out. I don't know how deep this thing really is. It's probably like 300 millimeters or more deep. So that's basically, you would have your knobs right across here, which I guess we could do. Oh crap. No, we don't want to do that. We could do a pocket sketch. On here if we wanted to. If we do a polyline, well, would we want to do a polyline, or I don't know if we can. Yeah, if we do a polyline, if we like go around the whole thing like this, and then if we do like little knobs. Wait, would this work? I think this would work. So think of like a knob there, like just put some knobs in. This obviously isn't how it actually is, but it has like some little switches there. Like if we do like a rectangle, there's like this rectangle thing here for something. There's like the actual LED, like the channel number here. There's like a big selector knob down here for the channel. So if we close that, what does that do? If we move that sketch up, so attachment position, and then we move it. Need to move it up to like 300 millimeters. Okay. Then if we pocket that out, it's like, I don't know what you're doing, man. Like, what is this? I can't do that. I guess I can't pocket that much stuff out. It just breaks. It's just like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. I don't know what's inside and what's outside, so never mind. But anyways, you get the point. Yeah, delete the pocket. So you get the point. There's the CB. Okay, so it would have like all the faces on it. I'm not gonna do it all because Freecad's gonna make it difficult. So, and we don't need that. All we need is this. Okay, so now let's make the other little radio. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to make a new body. And so we're going to actually rename this to CB, because I think this model is going to be like one of the harder models I've ever made. And so I'm going to try to keep it organized as I go. Let's rename this one to GMRS. Okay, so GMRS radio. Okay, so, and I don't know how deep this one is either. Our box is not going to be the full depth. All I'm trying to do is make a mounting bracket. So the other thing that I want to do with this, and this is why this is going to be complicated, is because I could just easily make a box that would hold these two things or these three things. But what I want to do really is start a whole center console. This thing used to have a center console in there with a tape player. And so I just took it out to put this in. And I don't know where it is. I thought I kept it, but I think I might have thrown it away. Or it's in my hoard. I'm going to start going through the hoard this week and getting rid of a bunch of crap. So, anyways, so what we're going to do is we are going to make a new box or a new little thing. Now, this is going to be complicated too because the way this thing mounts, there's no like bolts in it or anything. It just like slides into these grooves. And so we're going to make that shape. Let's go here. So I talk on a mic at least once a week for like an hour, and I'm running out of breath here. I must be getting sick. So here we go. The sides are 27 by 110. 28 back from face. Let's see. So I didn't do the actual radio. I did where it mounts. And then I have the mounting hole on the CB is 110 millimeters back. So actually, let's close this. Let's go back to the CB. So I double click on it to make it black. Then I'm actually going to make another sketch here for the mounting hole, and I'm going to make it on this plane right here, YZ. Okay. So we just need to know where this mounting hole is, and I don't know, I didn't put how big it is. So that's one constraint we're going to have to figure out later. But for now, we'll just make it 10 millimeters. Okay. And then we'll take our dot, and from here, we're going to add 5 from this side. And did I even say, no, I just said it was 110 back, but it's probably in the middle. And I can't remember how big that thing was. I think it was about 50, it was 51 something. So let's make this 56. Okay, that's not right. Oh, we need to half it. So it'd be 26 plus 5. So let's try 31. There we go. So that's about in the middle. We'll figure that exact measurement out later. And then from here to here, I do have this measurement, which is, it says it's 110. So we need to go 115. Okay, so that's where the mounting hole is on this thing. And remember, it's not this long. I guessed on how long it is. So it's actually probably about this long right here. But for these purposes, so we'll close that. Let's actually go back to this pad. So let's say this thing is probably more like 200 millimeters. Yeah, that's probably about right. It's probably about 200 millimeters long. I don't have that distance. I'll do that later too, if I remember. I mean, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So then let's pocket this hole. Let's just go through all. I don't know if it has to be reversed or not. Okay, I pushed OK and it's not there, so let's try reversed. Okay, it's still not there. What in the crap? Why is that jacked up now? Like, can we not just do a pocket anymore? Let's see. Can I change the... Like, all I did was a hole. I should be able to do this. If I change the position, what happens? Nothing. Let's see. See, it's not even moving. See that? Like, this should move it around. Oh, there we go. Maybe it's that one, I guess. Well, that's weird. It's weird that it put it over there now, and it was over there a second ago, just because I moved this Z. But it's like... don't know. I don't know what is happening. Oh, okay, that's the Y. Okay, so what is the Z doing? So, okay. So let's do minus 200. Then what happens? Did it break? Why is it square? I swear, this freaking thing. Sometimes Freecad is just not fun. Well, yeah, because it's like, what is this? What is this right here, Freecad? What's wrong with the pad? Like, do I need to make this pad again? Okay, let's try this again. So if we pad this, maybe it got messed up or something. By that, look, it's still there. It's still there, so I don't really know even what to do now. Do I, yeah. Do I make a new body? Let's try this. New body here. Let's copy this. Okay, let's try in our new body here. We copied the sketch over. Let's see what happens when I pad that thing. Oh, it's not in a body because it doesn't put it in there. Okay, pad that to 200. I think I ruined this body. Okay, so now let's go up here and grab this sketch and go into here and push Control V. And did it even go in there? No, it still didn't even go in there. Then it always adds like these. I don't know how to get rid of that. Okay, so this sketch now, if we push Pocket to whatever, I don't even know. Where is it? Where even is it? Sucks to get sick on your vacation too. Cause I'm not even working this week. Okay, Freecad, why is that so hard? You know, let me know if you guys are watching this. You have these same issues with Freecad. I guess it's because it is that hard. I don't know. Is that thing going all the way through? It's like, where's the other side? There it is. Right. Okay. We made a hole in a thing. Congratulations, everybody. I don't know. I broke that first one. I don't know what the dealio is. I'm going to delete that. So we'll rename this one to CB. Okay. Do I need these? Like, what happens if I delete these? Nothing. Okay, good. Okay, so now we have our hole. I don't know. I mean, based on where it is, this is probably the front, I'm assuming. Yeah. So that's probably about where it is in real life too. Is probably right about there. And we'll probably just make our box go back to like here, you know. So this will stick out the back of the box, which won't matter. It's just the front that we're after on making this. Okay, this GMRS radio. Now let's go back to this. Now that we have our hole. We did the side quest successfully. Okay, so on this thing, it's the same kind of thing. I don't know exactly what it is. We're just going to get started here. So the difference here is that it kind of has these two like channels that it has to go in. And so what we need to do for this is draw like but on this part, it has to go something like this. And you're just going to have to excuse my crappy drawing here. I kind of like this one. This song, it's kind of like chilled out, you know. but it's like also kind of super depressing at the same time. Okay. This, and this all need to equals. Okay. You know, and you could make stuff like this equals like this, and this equals. It's not a totally bad idea. Let's make this one that, whatever that thing is, the horizontals and the verticals. Get all our horizontals and verticals, because I can't just do it from the beginning like a smart person. So now we're somewhat constrained. We still got this one that's goofy. There we go. Okay, so basically this is the crude drawing of the GMRS. So what happens is these little side things here is that they have slides that it goes into. My alarm's going off. Set an alarm to get up at 4:30 and I wake up at 3. Okay, so this is not the shape that it is, but we're getting closer, I guess. I wish I knew why that one does that. Oh, it's this guy. It's this one. I remember now. So how do we do that? This one. Okay. Bam. There you go. Hope that helped. What is that thing called? Constrained tangent. See, now it doesn't move. We could do that in the other one too. Okay, so now we can like kind of pull these out over here more about. It's like, it's kind of tall and skinny. Oh, okay, don't be starting with me now. Look, these are all constrained. How do I make this smaller? Because this one, let's say it's like 2. What does that do? Does that totally break my model here? Kind of does. Okay, there we go. We're getting there, everybody, because it's something like this. Maybe this is like more like 6 or something. Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure what these corners are. I'm gonna have to figure out this radius at some point. That's what I mean. This model is gonna be complicated. Okay, so that's why I'm kind of starting with the opposites, and then what I'll do is I'll go through and draw, you know, what it needs to be. So we'll start with these first to get them modeled in here. Okay, so we'll go to my phone. Now what do we got? Okay, 27 by 110 mounting slides. The other problem is I wrote these down like 4 or 5 days ago, so I'm trying to think about what that means. I'm guessing that means that they're 110 millimeters apart, which means that from here to here is 110. Let's just go based on that assumption. Let's see how much this breaks it. Okay, all that does is kind of do that. So all we got to do is kind of pull this out like that. Okay, so I think that's what that is. The next one. So why would that be 27? Oh, so they're 27 deep, I'm guessing. Okay, 5 millimeter wide mount. I'm guessing that's this thing right here. 5. Okay, and that one moved this one. So I'm thinking that these are already equals. Oh, nope, it didn't. So that fixed that. Okay. Now this whole thing is 28 back from the face start, but we're not going to do that one yet. Okay, the lock. So the other thing is that I could just use the bracket that came with this thing. It doesn't use that much room, and then what I could do is just bolt it in to a piece of plastic inside the box, and then just have the hole on the front of the plate of this thing, and then just slide it in. which I might do because it might be a lot easier than trying to 3D print it. But this is, I don't have the front. I didn't write down the actual front dimension. How come when I move this one, it moves that one, but not the same amount? You see that? It's like, it's so weird. When I move this one over here moves to the right. Like, how are those connected? Anyways. Okay, so it's about something like this. I think these are one deep. And so that would make this one also one. Okay. And then if we make this and this equals each other, and then this and this equals each other, which they probably already kind of do to some extent. And then let's kind of get some of these out. I think this one, did we already constrain this one? Yeah, we have it at 5. But I actually think it's 6. So what was the 5 millimeters? I don't know. I'll figure that out later too. So the from here to here, I didn't put it down here, but I think it's probably about 30 millimeters or something like that. I'm not that good at eyeballing millimeters. Look, it's at 35, so let's just go 35. But compared to the CB, it's about that big, I'm going to say. So I'm basically just going to call it there. Okay, so does that constrain? Oh, almost everything. Let's say that this is in the middle. So the middle of this line is in the middle of that. So it'd be 2.5 from there, which is going to be, this thing's 35. So it'd be 32.5 plus 2.5. So, or minus 2.5. So this would be 30 millimeters. No. What did I do? 12.5. No. Okay, 35. Half of 35 would be 17.5 minus 2.5. So that would be, so if I just go 15, that should put that in the center. Right? I think. Apparently that constraint is too much. Like, I don't know why these are attached to each other, but apparently they are. Okay, so now I just need to place it somewhere. And kind of what I was thinking about doing was, what I was hoping to do is put this here, and then this here, and then the switch panel right here. Which, now that I'm thinking about it and have it here, what I should probably do is like this, because I'll be sitting over here. So the switches will kind of be closer to me from here. And the radio I don't need to mess with, because this radio, all the controls are on the unit, right? And so that's another thing that I could think about, is this could actually be mounted back in the box behind the switch panel. The only disadvantage there is that this thing does have one USB port on it, but I won't need it because I have other USBs that I just bought, that I'll be using to charge phones and stuff. And the other thing that I want to do with this box is I want to make this whole thing modular so it all bolts together, because my build plate on my printer is not big enough to print this. But the other thing that I want to do with this is make a part that I can take apart a wireless charger and mount it to this thing and make a part that will hold my phone. So on new trucks, you have this little area where you just put your phone in it and it just automatically charges, and it's kind of a little bit angled up, towards you. Not that I would ever use my phone while I was driving, but or look at it, but you know what I mean. There it is. I'll put it in there, and there it is. And it charges. Then when I get parked, I can just grab it, and I don't have to, there's no cords or anything, and I know I'm putting USBs everywhere too, but I have other things like GPS is the charge. And when the kid is sleeping up there, he'll have his USB ports that will be our USB ports, whatever. So anyways, the point is I could put this radio deep back in the box and put the switch panel in front of it, because I don't think there's enough room right here for the switch panel. But that's kind of the basic shape that I need for that. So should we do the same thing? Should we put 10 millimeters in between them? Might as well for now, I guess. We'll put that there and we'll put this here. Okay, so I just did a 5 millimeter kind of, length there on each side. So it's kind of the same thing as that. It's 5 millimeters from the corner. So now if we pad that out, so what it said there, because for some reason this one was black. Okay, so I was selected on this body. And so if I come in here and try to pad this, it doesn't know what body to put it in or whatever. So cannot use selected object. Select object must belong to active body. Because I have the other body selected, consider using a shape binder or a base feature to reference external geometry in a body. And it is in a body, right? And so this is one of these things with Freecad that happens that, like me as a normal user, like I'm not smart enough for this stuff, really, is what it comes down to. And so I think some people are. And when I watch them use Freecad on YouTube, it's like this stuff doesn't seem to happen to them. And it happens to me, and it happens to other people I know who use this software, and I know it's free. And like, I'm not trying to complain. I'm just saying, like, this is an actual user experience, I guess is what I'm saying. So I like this. I like that it's free and I'm able to use it and do this stuff, but it's just, you have to get around stuff. It's just the way it is. If you don't want to go spend the money on the right stuff, then you might have to work around this stuff a little bit or learn how they are doing it here, which is might be different than I don't know. I've never even used it. I've never seriously learned another CAD software. So I don't even know what I'm missing or what's, I think there are advantages to this. So they call it a parametric CAD. This is what I've learned. And I don't know who taught me that, because I don't remember who I learned this stuff from. But so I've probably been using this like 2 years, maybe a year and a half, something like that. But basically, having to locate everything in space, right? Like I have to tell this where this all is. That is a positive and a negative, kind of. If you use it, you can use it to your advantage, like I am here. And it works out well, But anyways, so this is not the same length as this, right? But I'm going to make it that length anyways. So I double click on that body and then pad it out. I think I'm going to make it 200 millimeters for now. Okay, so now I have my basic two shapes of what I need to do. And I don't think that they need 10 millimeters in between them there, but, it is what it is. It's like, I don't know. The other part of this that I don't know is if I need any cooling. And, the other thing, too, is that this is not going to be this long, and it's not going to be enclosed. It's just going to be like a half bracket thing. I do want to have the front. I want to have the front, to be flush mounted with these, or whatever's on the front to be kind of like a flush mount, and I want the sides to have chamfers or whatever this one is, the fillets. So, and what also might be nice to do is to put some custom lettering in, like maybe like a Chevy symbol or something like that. Maybe put some Chevy symbols on the sides. Well, I don't know if I get a copyright infringement for that or what, but it's going into Chevy, so, you know, I might have to find some like nice tan plastic to try to match the tan plastic that's already in there for the dash. I don't know. This is one of the reasons why I bought a 3D printer, was to build custom car parts. And this might be the first serious one that I've ever done, really. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've done anything. I've done some serious parts for my trailer build, like a switch bracket that I printed it in PLA to test it, because I know PLA and the sun really don't get along. And so what I did, though, I thought about this, and I don't know why the sun melts the PLA, why it warps. It can't be because of the heat, okay? Because what is it melting it at? Like 200 Celsius on the printer? And like that's way hotter than it ever gets outside, right? So is like does the UV react with the PLA somehow and make it warp? I don't know. So what I did was I printed it solid, 100% infill. And then I painted it black with spray paint, which should make it hotter, right? And so then I put it on the trailer, and it has been out in the sun for like over a week now and hasn't warped. So maybe it will eventually, I don't know. But my other tests for this, I had some, you know how when you print it, like if you put in supports, like I had these like flat support plates that were garbage because, you know, the print didn't need them, so I pulled them out. They were supports. So I put them out on my trailer one day just to see, and they all warped. And they were not 100% infill because they were supports. So they were thin and they warped. But I was building these toroidal fans for my dad, a fan in his RV, and because they were supposed to be quieter, which I don't know if they are. I think if you get into that rabbit hole, I think what happens is they make noise on a different frequency than a regular fan, and so they seem quieter, I think is what we ended up figuring out. But anyways, I was making these things, and this is when I first figured out that PLA warps. I just had them in the back of my hatch in my Prius, and I had the hatch open. We were working on something else, and I was in and out of there for tools or something, and the sun was on them, and it warped. It warped them. They were just tests anyways, but so I printed the actual one with 100% infill, and I said it's probably going to warp because it's in the sun, and I don't know if it ever did. At first, though, like after a couple weeks, I asked him, and he said it didn't, but maybe it did, and he couldn't see it because of the odd angles that it's already at. I don't know, but if you're listening, let me know, I guess. Anyways, so sometimes he watches these. Anyways, back to what I was doing. So there's that. So the switch panel, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw kind of what I think it is, and then I'll come back in here later and make it what it actually is. That way I don't have to go get it and we can continue. So anyways, so this will be wherever I put these, and these might move. And that's another reason why I'm drawing the actual components, because then I can move them around in here and use this as to help me design it. Because the options I have are these could be sitting on the floor straight up and down like this, right? And so I'm sitting above them. Basically the problem with this that I see is that the bed would be over the top of them, which might kind of push down on these in negative ways, right? The other option is like, you know, at somewhat of an angle, kind of like, it'd kind of be like this, you know, So I'm sitting up over here, like the steering wheel's way up here. The radio is right here. The stereo. You know, the other thing too is that the stereo here on Chevys is a din and a half, they call it. So there's a din, which is like about this big. Then there's a double din, which is about that big, and it might be a double din actually. So it's like 2 aftermarket stereos, if that makes any sense, like how big the hole is for the actual stereo part of it. Now I have an aftermarket in there that's a din sized, so I could move it up potentially, and I could put this GMRS radio right below it, or the switch plate right below it, and then that would kind of make room down here for other things. Like if I put but I would like to put the switch plate down here, just because it's easier to run all the wires down here than it is up into the stereo area. And then all I would have to do is get a hot up there for this, or steal the stereo's hot, borrow it to use also for this, which is doable. Because if I use the stereo hot, then it puts this on the ignition circuit, so that basically this won't work unless the ignition is on, which has its advantages. If I forget and leave this on, it won't run the battery dead, right? Because you know, the way I have these set up right now is they're plugged into a cigarette lighter hole, so I do have to turn them off. And it's possible, like Chevy does do this thing where you leave the dome light on. No, it actually doesn't do this. Never mind. I was gonna say it might turn the 12 volt off, but it doesn't. It will turn the dome lights off after 15 minutes, but it won't turn the cigarette lighter or the 12 volt adapter things off. So let's build our switch plate, I guess, now. And then we'll be able to rotate them around. So I'm going to do another body over here. It's actually, I'm going to save this too real quick so that just in case it decides to crash on me or whatever. Like, who knows? I mean, I don't know what this thing is going to do. Let's call this a CB box, I guess. CB box. You know, and like really, it's like it's a center console. Maybe I should call it that. Suburban. I'll call it Bourbon Center Console. And then I'll spell it wrong too, so I got fat fingers. Save. I'm just running 2 computers. Okay, so now let's do another body. And we'll rename this one to switch plate. Okay, so another sketch here, and we'll do it on this XY plane again here. So let's go get our polyline. And so what I'm going to do here is, that's not it. This is a polyline. I always get confused about that. I don't know what a B-spline is. I should probably learn that. So I'm just going to make the faceplate of it again, so it'll just kind of be like this. I'm not going to make like all the switches and stuff, because we don't really need that. All we need is the mounting sort of things. So M. And we go down, and M, because it's also kind of rounded off here. M. This one needs to go up. Man, I really screwed this up, didn't I? M. Is it even gonna... Oh, geez. Okay, let's just make a point there, and we'll reconstrain it here in a minute. So if we take these 2 dots, I think it's one of these. That one. Okay, I guessed right. So I don't even remember all these things. Okay, why can't I constrain it? Oh, because I have to do this one and this one. But I like this tangent thing. Constrain tangent. Now, if I could just get these to cooperate here. Let's do that one and that one, so we're constraining all these vertically and horizontally so that they're all like, sort of squarish there. And then we'll equals all these out. And we'll probably just do another 6 millimeter, I guess, diameter on those, because that's what we did on the others. I don't even know what it actually is. And I'm not even sure how to measure that either. This thing does have mounting holes that we're going to have to use. And so, the thing is that it's probably about as big as that radio there, but the problem is it's about this long. Now, I don't need to use their switch plate. It just has switches in them. It's a Nilight, so Nilight switch plate. Oh, and by the way, this radio is actually, never mind. I don't remember what it is, but there's basically just some switches in here. There's 4 switches and then 2 USBs right here is what it is. And then it has 4 mounting holes. It's the same switch panel but smaller that I made. If you go back, there's like two videos ago or 3 videos ago, I made this box for a 6 switch plate. It had six on it, and then it had a 12 volt, and it had 2 USBs and a voltmeter and 6 circuit breakers on it. But it's the same type of thing. I just basically need an area like that. Now here's the problem, is that it's too long over here. So what I'm thinking is probably the cord for the radio part is right here. So probably what we should do is maybe I should center this like here underneath the CB, or put it to one side, and it would provide my 2 USBs. I don't think I need more than that, because remember, the phones are going to have charging stations. So like my wife will have her own little platform that she'll put her phone in, and then I'll have mine that you can just put your phone in it and it will charge. And she'll also have a cord if she wants to like play on it, because she's going to be not driving, so she can play on her phone. And so basically what I'm thinking is on the other side, we'll put the radio, we'll recess it back as far as we can, then we'll put this in front of it, and on the other side we'll put the 110 outlets. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So let's do this. So should we put this here? Yeah, I think we should put this kind of even with this side is what we should do. And I'll kind of get it close here just for this, and I'll make it perfect later. But let's go over here and let's just go ahead and push spacebar on this GMRS one and get rid of it and mute it for a second. Okay, so now let's go back to here. We're going to constrain this in space to be, is it 100 millimeters? Let's say we don't know these exact things. Let's say that's 82. How close are we here? We're pretty close. I think we're close enough for these purposes. And from here to here, let's do kind of our standard 5 millimeters. And we don't know how tall this thing is, but let's say it's 30. Okay, so now we're fully constrained with our switch plate. Okay, that we're going to say is there. And so let's pad that to give it some dimension. Let's say it's 40 let's say it's 30 millimeters deep, right? Okay, now we need to move it to our front here. So if we go to the sketch and go to position down here, and then usually it's the Z that will move it in space, and sometimes it won't always move as you move it. You like have to do it and then hit enter or click off of it or whatever for it to actually move it. Sometimes, and I don't know why, but sometimes it will move it in the real thing while you're moving it. I don't know. If you know why, I guess comment below if you're watching this. Okay, so I think that was 200 millimeters. So I think actually we need that to be 170. There we go. So that will be kind of how that sits. Okay, so we're kind of opposite designing this thing. Okay, so now let's bring back in our GMRS. And actually what we're going to do here is we're going to change our pad. And I think this thing's probably about 60 millimeters deep, I'm going to say. It's something like that, okay? It's not perfect, but it's close enough. Maybe it's 80. It's probably closer to 80, actually. So, and it's, the other thing, too, is that if we put this inside the box, we can just use the existing bracket. And so we don't have to get all of these clearances exactly perfect. Because with 3D printing, you don't always get perfect outcomes on your clearances. And so the best thing that you can do is design your stuff with a little bit of slop in it. You know what I mean? So like leave a millimeter or two in between where things will go. And then you don't have to kind of hand finish when you get done. Okay, so there we have that. So I think what I'm going to do is, remember, our cord comes out on this side. And so we will need a hole or something for the cord to come out of. Or it could just drop down and then come around, which I guess if it goes down and out, that would work. Because what I have is up here on the dash up here, I have 2 hooks and both the radios just kind of hook in right there. And so I can easily grab them and talk and then put them back in. But of course I never do that while I'm driving. Just so everybody's aware out there, I don't use any electrical devices while I'm driving, ever. Okay, so there we go. There's that. I don't know if anybody's ever been in one of these trucks. It's a GMT, so it's a 2001 Suburban. If you can kind of know where the OnStar buttons are, that's where the radios sit. The other thing I'm going to be doing here and thinking about is deleting those OnStar buttons and maybe even deleting the whole OnStar system if I can figure out how to do that. Because part of the reason why I want these old trucks is because of crap like that. Okay, the new trucks talk to the cell towers. Maybe. I don't know. Seems like it's a thing. Anyway, so there we go. So then what we would need is right here in this space, we could put maybe a 110 outlet or maybe 2. So how do we, I don't know if we can figure out how big that would be. And then we need to move this model over. Yeah, so if the cord just comes out the bottom, it actually doesn't matter where that thing is. And if the thing hangs on this side of it, then it's probably better just to leave it where it is. So the mount will have a hole in the bottom. Right. Will it? Is that how this is going to work? Because remember, we can't go fully back. Maybe we'll have to go fully back anyways. I think we can do we can either do 200 millimeters or 240 millimeters. Which this is 200. So we can go pretty far back far enough to mount this bracket. And then the bottom will just leave a big hole in that the wire can come out and come around and go up to the dash, either on the front or on the side. Actually, it'd probably be better on the side because then it won't be in the way of like the switch. And remember, we will have 2 USBs here and a 110 under here. So I think this is sort of the way to go here. So should we, here, hold on, I'll go get the calipers. We'll measure an outlet, we could make an outlet here on the front, and then basically what this will give me is my sort of dimensions for the whole thing. Then I can kind of start piecing it together. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to print this in 2 pieces for this part. I'm going to print the box that goes all the way back, and then put some holes in it and print a faceplate separately that will screw into it. That way I can change the faceplate as I want. So like if I don't like it, or you know, I want a different color or something, I can just change the faceplate. Or if I want like some sort of different setup, let's say I wanted to move these switches from here to over here because they're better, and move the 110 back, I won't have to reprint this whole box. I'll just reprint the faceplate, because this will mount to the faceplate. The 110 will mount to the faceplate, while these two boxes will mount to the rear box area. You know what I mean? So anyways, so there's the start. I'm gonna go grab those calipers. I'll be right back. Okay, so kind of the point here too is to make this, to modernize the truck a little bit. So it has a new engine, new transmission, now a new fuel pump. All the cooling system is about 2 or 3 years old. So basically the big main parts of this truck are new. It has a new alternator. There's just, the interior, it's not in horrible shape, but it's over 20 years old. It's 24 years old. So there are some issues. So, like there's a rip in the back seat that I don't know what to do about. It's not that bad yet, so maybe I'll figure out a way to kind of repair it. Our seats, the front seats, I was able to get seat covers for they're like nice seat covers, so they look new because of the seat covers. They're about $200. They're kind of expensive, but for seat covers, but they are nice. They're custom to those seats, and those seats are weird. They're not just like bucket seats. They have like a fold down armrest and stuff like that, and fully electric, adjustable on both of them, and the seat belts are on the seat, so they're odd. So you can't just buy like any seat cover. Any universal seat cover won't necessarily work. So let me measure out this plug here. We'll do this. Okay. So I'm going to do this in abouts too, just so you guys don't have to sit here and wait for me. But it's about 10 millimeters apart. So let's make a new pad. I mean, I know nobody watches this crap anyways, but you know, it is what it is. Like I said before, you never know what's going to be popular later. 110 volts. Volties. Fine, we'll do that then. So let's do a sketch. Yeah, because I don't even... Like, there are videos that I just pretty much shot and edited and put up for myself that got a lot of views on them. And I don't know why, but I guess it's just helping people. I'm going to take that out because it's easier for me to see kind of what's going on here. Okay, so let's make a little, like, basically what I found online is they sell these like little plates that kind of have two 110 plugs in them. And they might have like a USB, but the other end is just like an extension cord. You would just plug it in. So kind of what I'm thinking about doing here is just putting in some something to a inverter, you know. So the inverter might like sit in the dash somewhere here, or maybe in the center console. That's probably what I'll do, in the center console or under the seat, maybe under the back seat, and then I'll just put in extension cords, you know, as wiring. Like, this might not be the best way to do it. I'm not giving you advice to do it this way. That's just how I'm going to do it. Okay. So like, don't come at me or whatever, you know, do your own research. This isn't a how-to video. I'm not telling you to do anything. Okay. Let's just say that. Anyways, so now that that's out of the way, let's do this. So probably what I'll do is just put an inverter literally under the back seat. And then I will just kind of put all my plugs to it. Kind of like this. Okay. So let's see. We want this one and this one to be that. Okay. This we want like that. And this we want like that. And this one like that. So we're just doing the same thing again. This one didn't get the tangent thing. And it's just the same, you know, kind of stuff that everything is kind of like this, where it's all got these, it's kind of all this shape, you know. So let's make this 6 again, just like the other ones are. And I don't know if that's right, but it just sort of looks good from here, right? So you know, all I'm really trying to do is wrap my head around how I'm going to build this, and then I'll build it, because there's a lot of moving parts here, and I'll probably do a lot of these exact measurements off camera here, but basically this is what I'll end up with. And I think these kind of sit sideways, these like the holes or whatever. So let's finish this out first. I don't know what these measurements are. I will go find out and then redo them, but because my plan is to buy this whole thing and then just put it in like the switch plate, right? And so whatever it is, I'll design it around. It's kind of what my thing is. Okay, so that's all good there. So now we're just gonna pretend that this is kind of the same as this is what we're gonna do. So this is 30. So the actual thing, the deal over there, so the one that I looked up was kind of, it had like 2 outlets and some USBs, but it was kind of like this. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna just do like a rectangle here, and this is going to be why am I doing that? Alright, we're grooving out now. This music, by the way, I forgot to say that. It's the relaxed movement on YouTube. That's what the thing is. So the relaxed movement, that's the YouTube channel. So, and I usually when I'm streaming this stuff, I use their channel. I don't know why, I just like a lot of their stuff I tend to like or whatever. So, okay, so we have that. Let's make another one actually too. And like, I don't know why I didn't just use this tool before. And actually, we need to make like 2 more down here, right? Okay, and then we need like some circles. We're just gonna kind of draw our thing here and break the model because it's not gonna know how to do this. Okay, so it's something like that. These are like, I measured them at like 7. I don't know if this is correct, but I just kind of like, you know, I wasn't really gonna stick the calipers in the slot. I figured that might be a bad idea, and I was off camera. Maybe if I was on camera, like stick it in and get a little shock. You know, just kidding. Don't do that either. Like, and this isn't medical advice, or, you know, none of this is advice, people. Like, really, don't stick your calipers in the 110 socket to measure how big they are. So I just kind of held them up to the outside, you know. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, so now we have kind of our outlets. They're about 10 millimeters apart. You know, once again, this is abouts. So I don't know what they actually are as far as that goes, but it's something like that, right? And I didn't measure this. We're just gonna eyeball it, and I don't even know how big that should be. Maybe like 3, maybe 4. Looks about right. So let's do that. And then, so where are they in relation? This is 30 millimeters and this is 6. So we need to go, and then this is 10. So I'm not going to do the math. Let's cheat here. From here to here. Oh, why doesn't that work? I forgot that used to work. Let's say that's 10. Then what? Is it offset? It's offset a little bit. So let's add, let's say 11.5. Is that centered? What is it from here to here? 10.5. So I was close. So I need to take out another half, right? So it's 11. So now from here to here is 11, right? Yeah. Okay, so from here to here is 11. Okay, so cheese. All right. So if this from here to be centered, what would that be? 16? No. I think it might be 18. From here to here, what is that? 18. Okay, so that is centered there. So let's do the same thing to this. And then we will locate them front to back. So I don't know what the distance is here. Let's just say it's 8. You know, I know this is a mess, but from here to here, we'll say is 8. So that kind of, you know, you see where I'm going with this. Okay, so now what we need to do is to go from here to here as being 8. And that will locate that. Wait, why did that happen like that? Oh, because this is... Oh, because I did the wrong one. Oops. It actually has to be this one. There we go. See, so now that's kind of located. You know, if I do the same thing from here. 8. Okay, so now these are kind of the same all over. They just have this side-to-side movement, which I don't know exactly where I would put them. Maybe right like that. So if we go from here to here now, and if this is 15, and then from here to here is 15 is what 14. So from here to here, if we want to make them 15 apart, we're at 29, so about 44, 45. Look at that, it's already 44. Let's call it that. And then they would have USBs over here, but we're not going to do that. Okay, so let's go to our thing here. We have one constraint, which is the whole thing gets to move. So from here to here, what is it going to be? Let's say it's 10. Okay, so it's a little bit, it's not perfectly on there. So let's move it to the front and pad it. How far do we want to pad it on this? Probably only like 5 millimeters, something like that. So let's go pad 5, because it's just going to be, or 10. We'll just do 10 because I don't know what it is. So let's go to the position and move it to 190, which should flush it up there, right? Move that to the front. So this is kind of the idea here. And then we'll put the GMRS back there somewhere. And we can adjust it around as well. So, there will be a big wire coming out of here. They could just go down underneath this GRMS radio. And hopefully these wires don't affect the radios. If they do, then I guess I'll have to start over and do something completely different. And the other thing too is the CB I hardly use. I almost want to get rid of it, but yeah, you never know. So I'm just going to leave it. So we'll do that. So I think I like this the best because I don't need to get access to this one if I have a USB up here, which I will. And I know this and this will not fit. They're not the same width as this. So I'd have to make the thing wider and center this. But I would like to keep it narrower because it won't run into our knees or whatever. The smaller the better, really. And then I want 110 on an inverter. And the reason for that is you just, not everything is USB. Sometimes you just need a plug, right? So, and the thing is that I put a lithium battery in the bathroom to run the fridge, and the truck is getting a lithium battery to run the fridge. So the fridge moves from the bathroom to the truck when we get to camping. And so the truck is going to have a substantial battery and solar system on it that we could utilize for 110 if we need to, Like let's just say I'm just out in somewhere and like I need to use a tool that's 110. I'll be able to just plug it into the truck, You never know what these situations, yeah. And I don't know how I'm going to size the inverter, so that might not be a thing, but yeah, you never know. I mean, you just don't know. You don't know what you need until you need it. And if you have it, then plus this stuff's just cool to kind of design up, So it'd be something like that. Anyway, so I think I'm going to sort of end the stream now and think about this. And maybe what I'll do later is I'll measure the exacts of how this is going to be. And maybe tomorrow morning, because I'll probably wake up again before everybody else does. What I'll do tomorrow morning maybe is make a stream about this, the actual designing the outside of the box. Because now what I have here, and I'll get these locked in to what they actually are, these two. But now what I have here is a pretty good start on what I need to do for the faceplate and the box behind. And then the other thing I need to do is design my little pad to stick this in. And the chargers I have are just round. So, but the thing is that you do have to sort of get them located on the back of your phone correctly. If they're too low, they don't work. If they're too high, they don't work. It's kind of got to be like in this area. So you're going to want your phone to sit in to where it just sits like right on it. You know what I mean? And so what this is going to do is this is going to give me kind of the upgrade, that these new trucks have for very little money, like maybe $20 or something like that, right? And probably what I could even do, at least with one of those pads, is plug it into this radio's USB here. I don't know where I'll plug in the other USB yet. Maybe what I'll do is I'll have this whole system. Some of the stuff might have to plug into the factory 12 volt adapters that are up here, or I'll just wire them right into the truck. For this last trip, I was trying to get sort of a 12 volt extension cord from the trailer to the truck, so I did end up buying these they're like 3-way extension for a 12 volt port, so I could use those, and I could put one of them behind here, or just wire it right into the truck and put it behind here somewhere to plug the wireless chargers into. So the wireless chargers I have are USB. So I can just put them into those USBs and then put that just plug it right into the 12 volt socket, or I can just wire it right into the truck, and then that will power the phone charging. And I'll probably use 2 of them. I got 3 of them. I can use 2 of them, and then that way we will get the full amps. Because sometimes on those things, what they do, depending on which one you buy, is you will get one socket that will say 2 amps on it and one socket that will say 1 amp. And then what they don't tell you is that the thing is only 3 amps. So if you plug in 2 USBs to the thing, sometimes it halves the amps, if that makes any sense. So if you plugged in 2 amp loads, it might be 1.5 amps on both of them. So if you have 2 1 amp USBs on one of these little devices, sometimes if you plug in 2 devices, you'll get half an amp from each, if that makes sense. Instead of 2 amps, you get half. Sometimes they don't work correctly. So, especially obviously the more expensive that you get, you're probably not going to have that problem. It's probably going to be the cheaper stuff that does that. And, the really cringy electronics that we get sometimes from these websites that are sometimes just, go watch Big Clive on YouTube, and he'll buy these like really cringy things and take them apart, and they're like, like a shower hot water heater a shower water heater, I guess. Anyways, he takes apart these USB things and he'll talk about them, and he has a little tester that he'll be able to test how much power is being output from a USB. It's not always what it says it is. Like even what I'm using right now, I have this little like USB. It's like you can plug 6 USBs into it, and then one plugs into the computer, right? Well, it's not going to power 6 USB things. It will power them enough to talk to the computer, but it just doesn't. And then it also plugs into the wall. So basically I get one powered USB out of that. That's 2 amps. And the other 5, I might get power from them or I might not. It just kind of depends on what else is plugged into it. So, and it's a quality unit. It's an Anchor. Actually, both of them are. I have 2 of them over there. But so basically that's, it would depend on your unit there, but that's the way it is. So I don't always get power out of the other 5, and I can't expect it. So, you have to kind of realize that when you're buying this stuff. Is it meant for data? Is it meant for power? Is it cringy? Is it like chintzy? Is it going to actually do it or not? I feel good and confident about the Nightlight stuff. All their stuff that I've ever used seems to be good. Like, it is cheap. It's not expensive, for what I think, but that's to your perspective, but I like it. I've used it and it seems to be good. So I'm gonna move into the wiring on this truck, and I really want to build this sort of center console, and I want to 3D print it. And probably what I'm going to do is just 3D print it out of PLA. And I know it's going to be in the sun and it's going to be in a hot truck. And if it fails, I will just reprint it out of ABS. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to print it, and then I'm probably going to paint it, just like I did that switch. And maybe I should look this up and figure out exactly why PLA warps, if it's the heat or the UV or what. But I don't know. If it's the UV and you just paint it, like I just spray painted that piece. It took me 5 minutes. And so far, it's only been a week, but so far I can't see really visible warping that I know of. So I don't know. And it might also be its design. Like maybe it's less likely to warp because kind of like the triangle design that it is. I think I did a stream on making it a few streams back, but I don't know. I called it like an air switch or something like that. But this isn't my basic idea for now. So right below this would be our phone charging ports, like something that would kind of come off at a sort of an angle like this, right? It would kind of come down. It's going to kind of come down like this. And so what I'm going to do is just build this box, but I'm going to put like some tabs or something coming down off of the bottom. And basically whatever charging ports I put for the phones that come off at an angle down here, they will, they'll be like this. So they'll be like sideways, kind of sticking out like this. And it's kind of going to flow into the cup holders that are right here, right? And if I have room, I want to print another box right in this area that I'm going to put just the right size to hold my sunflower seeds. So it will hold it at just the right height, and just the bag will be open there because I like to eat seeds while I drive sometimes. And so the problem with that is the seeds, like there's nowhere to put them. Everywhere I put them, they like kind of rub into my arm and stuff. So if I could put them right here, that would be a lot better. And then my phone right in front, the other phone, if she wants, right there. 2 USBs here, my switches for my basically transmission cooler, AC air conditioner switch because it broke. I'm just going to wire in my own. Air horn switch, or at least for the compressor, the air horn compressor switch to turn that on and off. And then I can't remember what the other one's for, or if I need it. I don't know about the other one, and then USBs, then 110 volt CB, the other radio. And so I think that'll work pretty good. Then I don't have to mess with the actual stereo at the top or other things. So yeah, anyways, I think maybe I'll do the rest tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll come on and start designing the rest of this thing. But thanks for watching, and have a good day. Hopefully this helped in any way. But comment below if there's anything else I can do. Goodbye.